Hello everyone, this is Angela here, and tonight I'm doing a video on the narcissistic personality disorder. And tonight's topic is narcissists suffer from delusions, but it's not psychosis. And to make it perfectly clear, narcissistic delusions are not like schizophrenia, okay? Schizophrenia is a mental illness to where the sufferer will hear auditory hallucinations and see visual hallucinations sometimes, and this is something that can be controlled with medication. With narcissists, it's not at all like that, and I want to explain what narcissistic delusions are. As many health professionals on YouTube have said, narcissists put up a false self, okay? They put up the false self because they cannot accept their true self because it's too painful for them. And, you know, this is very true. And to best explain the dynamic of the narcissist delusions, I'm going to talk about the case with my mother. I had never understood for years why my mother used to gravitate towards strangers and, you know, act like she cared more about strangers than she did her own children. She absolutely loathed her mother-in-law and was very jealous of her mother-in-law, my grandmom, and she did not like the responsibility of being a mother because she was childlike herself. She was emotionally stunted, and you know, and even like when I first started learning about narcissism, during the whole wicked attraction period, I really didn't grasp to the full extent, as I do in the present day, the reality of narcissistic delusions. And I just want to share what I've learned on the subject, okay? My mother had a serious hoarding problem. I've talked about that on this channel, and it was something that was an overt aspect of her personality, to which brought her great shame, okay? And her intimate loved ones, you know, her children, her husband, her in-laws, everybody who was intimately involved with my mother, who knew the real self, knew what a train wreck she was, especially in that aspect of hoarding. But there was a situation that occurred where she had met the neighbor Tito, and I've talked all about what happened with that whole episode during my Wicked Attraction series, and how she became very dangerous because he was basically giving her a mind F, if you know what I mean. I don't want to say the word because I want to keep this channel clean as much as possible. So he was really playing mind games with her, and she was feeding off the delusions, okay? A narcissist will gravitate to a primary source of supply that would feed those delusions, and this is what I'm about to share. He had given her a card that was very inappropriate, and I talked about this in another video, which I made several years ago, but I'm going to talk about it now again. Okay, so it was Mother's Day 2009, and he gives her this card, and he did so because he had done it with the intention of manipulating her to con her out of her houses, to get into her bank accounts, which he did, and, you know, for her to give him money, which she gave him quite a bit of money. So I'm going to show you this card, if you could see this, and I'm going to read to you what it says on the top. You can read it for yourself. I'm going to read it out loud. And it says, Mother, your love means so much. No love on earth can ever compare to the love in a mother's heart. Okay? And he did this writing on the inside, and it says, to my wonderful mom, what makes a mother so special? It's the advice and helping hand, the words of comfort. Two, it's all the warm, thoughtful things she takes the time to do. It's these little gifts of love she gives throughout a busy day that make a mother far more dear than any words can say. I could never find enough ways to thank you for all you've given, all you've done for me. I can only love you with more and love you more and more each day and wish you happiness. Have a beautiful Mother's Day. And on this side of the card, you can see where it says, you've always been the one to take care of me, to guide me through all of life's twists and turns, to let me know I was completely and unconditionally loved. I will never be able to thank you enough for all you've done for me. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. And you can see where it says, you're something, I don't know, it's written in Hispanic, son, Tito. Okay? This card was highly inappropriate. Okay? This person was an acquaintance. He was not her son. He was not the person. She was not the person that he described in this card. Okay? She didn't even know this person. Like, she didn't even know his last name. Okay? Or maybe she knew that much, or anything about him. He was just an acquaintance. And she would meet people and try to cheat, and like the relationship was more intimate than it really was, or at least she saw it that way. Okay? And he knew this, and like he was feeding off her narcissism, feeding, you know. And this is delusional. You know, this is a delusion. This is not reality, but it's not psychosis, okay? This is not psychosis. It is not dementia. And the reason why she gravitated heavily, and I mean heavily, towards this person, to where she's emptying out her bank account and giving him anything to it. I mean, if he told her to go cash a check that would, you know, that was a bad check, she would do it. And she did it, okay? She did it. And it's like, my father had told her to stay away from these people, okay? Because it wasn't only him, it was other people too on that street. And the guy at the check cashing place who knew my dad came after my dad and said, hey, these checks are bad checks. They're stolen checks. You better make good on them or I'm calling the cops. And my father had to put out $1,000, maybe more, to cover the checks that she went out and was doing. Okay? She knew that this was wrong. But in her mind, okay, she could not accept the reality that this was a bad person that was conning her. She could not accept that reality because she was so far into delusion, and it wasn't dementia and it wasn't psychosis. And the reason why she heavily went towards this individual was because he saw the hoard, okay? He saw the overt aspect of her personality. And he still told her that she was wonderful. And she just thought that was the most amazing thing. It was wonderful, okay? Whereas her biological children, her husband, her mother-in-law, and anybody else who was in reality, not alternate reality, but reality, not delusion, but reality, is going to say, hey, this house is a mess, okay? I can't live like this, which was much of the complaint of my father, okay? My father would go insane. He would go insane and, you know, fighting with her over this, and they could never get along. But he had his own issues, okay? My dad had his own issues with codependency. My dad was not a narcissist. He had picked up a lot of narcissistic traits of his own over the years. Being with a narcissist for so long, you kind of pick that up. Some people call it narc fleas. But yeah, so that was the reality of what this is. And I didn't understand that, okay? I understood that it was a false self, but I didn't pinpoint it as it being a delusion that was not psychosis and not dementia. And as I tried to explain to people on my channel, you know, people that watch Reunion with Narcissistic Mother, I've gotten so many attacks from that. And it's like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. People attacked me. I've had a lot of support, but I've also had my share of attacks on Reunion with Narcissistic Mother because people watch those videos and they don't see it. They don't see the covert narcissism. How could they? You're just watching a video, and you know it could be very deceptive. And my answer to them is always the same. You would feel differently if you were a child of this woman. Believe me when I tell you that. Or don't believe me, because the truth doesn't need defending. The truth can never be changed, okay? It could be hidden, you know, but it can never be changed, okay? It could be distorted, but it can never be changed. Reality can never be changed. Reality can be distorted, but it can never be changed. And they don't live in reality. That's why they live in narcissistic delusions, okay? They don't live in the same world as we do. And it's like, I've seen videos on YouTube. Dr. Les Carter, he did a video, okay, talking something similar about what I'm saying, is how narcissists live in alternate reality, okay? And it is not psychosis. It is not psychosis. It's just, it's a defense mechanism, is what it is, to where the truth is so detrimental that they can't face the truth. They can't, because it's way too painful for them. Little Shaman said it in her videos. And it helped me gain a perspective, because it leaves me with the question, you know, was it meant to personally attack me? Okay, for a long time I felt that it was. But in looking at it in another way, from the narcissist perspective, even though I took it personally, it's the narcissist way of defending their mind, okay, their delusions, their stuff. Because, like, even if you present truth to a narcissist, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. That's why they gaslight and twist things and everything. You got to understand something, people. You got to understand something. It takes a very strong person to be emotionally strong, not physically strong, to have that courage, to be able to look inside yourself and to allow yourself to feel the pain of shame, embarrassment, and to be like, you know, I did this, and have the humility. They can't, the narcissists do not have humility, okay? No. they are not humble people. To say, you know what, that other person put me in my place, and it's quite embarrassing, but you know what, they're right. They can't do that. It's way too painful for them. And that's the whole reason for the delusion. They must maintain that delusion, and any threat to the false self, you're going to be attacked. It's nothing personal. It's their way of protecting that delusion, if that makes any sense. Because it's making sense to me. And I'm going through with my son, you know, with my son. And this is why I had to walk away, because it would have a better outcome for everyone to walk away in that situation than it would be to try to maintain even low contact. It's not going to work because he sees me as a threat. I know too many of his secrets, and he can't handle that. Mm-mm. Mm. But I accept that, and I still love him. He's my child. We just can't have a relationship, and I wish him well. You know, I wish things could be different, but they can't. So, with that said, you know, please leave a comment on any feedback that you want to say, you know, positive, negative, otherwise. So that's it. And I hope you all have a good night, and I'll catch you at the next video. Take care. Bye.